One of my favorite parables is the story of the Chinese farmer. And it goes like this. There's a Chinese farmer and his son on a farm. One day, their horse that they had ran away. All the neighbors came over and said, "Oh, that's so terrible." And the Chinese farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back with a whole bunch of other horses that they could tame. And all the neighbors came over and said, "Isn't this great? You have all these horses now that you can tame." The Chinese farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, his son was riding one of the horses and taming it, fell off, broke his leg. All the neighbors came over again and said, "That's so terrible. He broke his leg." And the Chinese farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the conscription officers came over looking for soldiers for the war. And his son, being injured, couldn't go to war now. So all the neighbors came over again and said, "Isn't that so wonderful? He doesn't have to go to war." And the Chinese farmer said, "Maybe." And the point of this story is that in the whole scheme of life, you have no idea how each event will play out. And it's really impossible to say whether a seemingly bad is good or a seemingly good is bad. And what this forces us to do in our life is to really look in the eyes of purity, look in the eyes of neutrality. Think about all the events that have occurred and all the things that seemingly bad happen, oftentimes can be those good things. Someone getting cancer and realizing, you know what, maybe I need to quit smoking. I need to quit a bad habit. Maybe I need to quit alcohol. And that was a catalyst for change. It's some of it's one of the biggest paradoxes of life. Some of the seemingly some of the worst things that happen to us in life can end up being the best. And it teaches us, it humbles us into a place where all we do is focus on what's in front of us, and the things that happen to us are really things that are happening for us. And ultimately, that's what we choose at the end of the day. It's choose to believe in God, is another way of saying that, to choose to believe in the good. And all we do is what we have, do what we can with what we have, with what's in front of us, and let go of the outcome and trust that it will be the ultimate good. And that's not easy because most people don't operate in that. Most people are operating cynicism and fear and lower vibration. And it's so easy to get pulled into fear, especially now with so much information. 2020 was a wake-up call. Think about how much fear was pulled in. And this journey is not for the weak. The spiritual journey is not for the weak. But there is nothing better in this human experience to grow through that spiritual journey. And you think about what any good movie shows this through thick and thin. The protagonist continues to move forward. And ultimately, he focuses on a mission that's bigger than himself. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. The Chinese farmer is something that always comes to mind because it's so easy to get pulled into a seemingly negative that's going on in your life. It could be a breakup. It could be losing your job. It can be an injury, a health condition. It can be losing a loved one, losing a pet. These things are painful. No mistake. I make no mistake in saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna, I'll just go to the Chinese farmer. My dog just died, or I lost a loved one." It's not that simple, but it is a reminder to really appreciate, the paradoxes of life, the good and the bad. And the real test is in the bad parts of life. That's what really tests our character. So when you're having times of not being able to see the bigger picture, just lean in on the Chinese farmer. And although it may not take away all the pain, it can add a little clarity and help ease the pain and grow in a little bit of grit to endure that pain.